Sometimes nature plays by the rules, and then sometimes it throws the rulebook in the river and turns pigs neon blue, bees into zombies, and starfish into melting puddles. It gives rabbits twisted horns straight out of a horror movie, dyes stray dogs Smurf blue after a toxic swim, and paints alligators bright orange for no reason at all. We've seen crabs taken over by mind-controlling parasites, deer growing antlers like tangled cactus plants, and even puppies born glowing green. These aren't urban legends or movie props. They're real animals caught in nature's strangest, most unpredictable experiments. And today, we're bringing you the wildest of them all. So let's dive in. 15. Frankenstein rabbits. Just recently, videos and photos of Frankenstein rabbits have gone viral across the US, sparking shock and curiosity online. In the 1930s, Dr. Richard Shope, a virologist in Kansas, discovered wild cottontails sprouting dark, twisted horn like spikes from their heads. It wasn't makeup or a costume. It was shop papillomavirus, a real disease that forces keratin, the same substance in human nails, to grow into bizarre protrusions. These growths can block a rabbit's eyes, making eating hard and even lead to death. Decades ago, tales of the jackalope, the mythical horned rabbit, were considered tall tales. Now photos from places like Wyoming and Nebraska show the legend had a real creepy origin. The virus seems to spread in summer via biting insects, and when people see these animals today, the internet lights up with headlines, blending amazement and "are you kidding me?" reactions. 14. Neon blue pigs. Imagine cutting open a wild pig and finding bright blue fat, like it's been eating crayons. That's exactly what happened in California in 2023. Hunters were shocked to see glowing blue tissue inside feral hogs. It turned out these pigs had been munching on grain mixed with dipacinone, a strong rat poison. The poison is dyed blue so people know it's dangerous, but the pigs didn't get the memo. The dye traveled through their bodies, staining fat and even some organs. From the outside, they looked like normal hogs, but on the inside, it was a toxic paint job. This made them unsafe to eat and also put predators at risk if they scavenged the carcass. Wildlife experts warn that feral hogs are expert food thieves. They can sniff out anything edible, from crops to trash to poison bait. Similar blue pig stories have popped up in Texas and Florida, proving it's not just a one-time freak accident. 13. Blue dogs. In 2017, people in Navi Mumbai spotted stray dogs with fur as bright blue as the sky. At first, locals thought someone had dyed them for fun, but the truth was worse. The dogs had been swimming in the Kasadi River, a waterway so polluted with industrial dye that it turned them into walking warning signs. Tests showed a nearby factory had been dumping waste into the river illegally. The blue color stuck to the dog's fur in just hours, especially on lighter coats. Animal groups checked them over. Thankfully, no serious health problems were found right away, but vets warned long-term exposure could be dangerous. Photos of the blue dogs spread across the internet, and the factory was shut down. Within weeks, most of the dogs shed the blue fur, but the image of those Smurf-colored strays is still one of the most famous examples of pollution making its mark on animals. If you like this video so far, leave a like, and you can also check out 15 animals that look like other things on our channel Forever Green. 12. Orange alligators. In South Carolina one morning, people saw a gator that looked like it had taken a bath in orange juice. It wasn't a new species or a zoo escape. It was a normal American alligator that had turned pumpkin-colored. Experts think the strange shade came from swimming in water full of iron oxide or possibly algae, which stained its skin. The color doesn't last forever. Alligators shed their outer skin layers, and with it, the rusty coating fades back to the usual gray-green. But during its orange phase, the Trumpigator, as locals nicknamed it, became a celebrity. Photos made headlines across the US, and wildlife officers had to remind people not to approach. no matter how unusual it looked. Similar cases had been reported in Florida and Georgia, proving it's not a one-time event. Just another weird moment when nature decides to mess with the paint job. 11. The tongue-eating louse. If you ever thought your seafood dinner was safe from nightmares, meet the parasite that turns a fish's tongue into real estate. This tiny crustacean swims into a fish's mouth, clamps onto the tongue, and drinks its blood until the tongue withers away. Then, in the most unsettling roommate move ever, it stays put and acts as the fish's new tongue, helping it move food while still feeding on scraps. First described in the 1980s off the coast of California, the tongue-eating louse had been found in snappers, groupers, and other marine fish worldwide. Divers and fishermen occasionally pull one out and post photos online, and it never fails to shock viewers. While it doesn't harm humans directly, the sight of it has made plenty of people rethink their next seafood platter. 10. Frogs with extra legs. Picture a frog leaping out of a pond with not just 4 legs, but 6 or even 8. And no, it's not a superhero origin story. Across North America, especially in the Midwest, scientists have found frogs with extra limbs, missing feet, or twisted joints. The culprit is a flatworm parasite called Riberia ondatre. When its larvae infected tadpoles, they mess with limb development, sometimes creating bizarre, useless legs. The parasite's life cycle is as weird as the Dimmiform writes. It moves from snails to tadpoles, then to birds that eat the frogs. Reports of monster frogs date back to the 1990s, and they're often spotted in farm ponds or wetlands with high snail populations. While it's a survival win for the parasite, it's a hopping disaster for the frogs. 9. Zombie crabs. Some crabs walk sideways into traps, but these poor creatures never see it coming. The barnacle Scalenia carcini doesn't build a shell, it builds a prison inside its host. It slips into a crab's body, grows tendrils throughout its organs, and takes over its hormones. Males lose their claws fighting spirit, females stop reproducing normally, and both start caring for the parasite's eggs as if they were their own. The yellow sac you sometimes see under an infected crab's belly is actually the barnacle breeding chamber. Scientists have found infected crabs in Europe's coastal waters for over a century. But fishermen still pull them up today, their natural behavior completely erased. It's not just a parasite, it's a full-blown puppet master. 8. Puppies born green. When a litter of puppies was born in Sardinia, Italy in 2020, one of them stood out, literally glowing green against its white-furred siblings. This strange color isn't from a paint or dye, it comes from biliverdine, a green pigment found in the mother's placenta. If a light-colored puppy is exposed to enough of it before birth, its fur can be tinted neon green. The condition is rare, but it's been spotted in countries from Spain to Brazil, and always makes headlines when it happens. The green fur fades after a few weeks as the puppy grows and sheds, leaving behind nothing but photos to prove it ever happened. Some owners keep a little clipping of the original green coat, a souvenir from one of nature's weirdest baby announcements. Before proceeding to our next selection, we invite you to explore our video on 15 weirdest baby animals you've never seen. Now, back to our list. 7. Starfish that melts. On the west coast of North America, divers and tide pool watchers began noticing something disturbing in 2013. Starfish with twisted, drooping arms, their bodies breaking apart as if they were melting. This wasn't a horror movie prop, it was a sea star wasting disease. One of the largest marine die-offs ever recorded. Entire populations of sunflower stars, okra stars, and others vanished in months. New research points to a bacterium in the Vibrio family as a likely cause, which thrives in warmer water. The disease starts with a small white lesion, then spreads until the animal's body literally disintegrates. As it peaks, it's wiped out an estimated 90% of some starfish species in affected areas. In recent years, there's been cautious hope. Some populations are slowly returning, but the melting starfish remains one of the ocean's most haunting mysteries. 6. Angel wing and waterfowl. In some lakes and ponds, young ducks and geese grow up with wings that stick out sideways like airplane propellers, a condition called angel wing. It's not genetic magic, it's a deformity linked to their diet and growth speed. When young waterfowl are fed too many high-calorie, low-nutrient foods, like bread from well-meaning people, their feathers grow faster than the bones and muscles can keep up. This causes the last joint of the wing to twist outward permanently. Once it happens, the bird can't fly, leaving it vulnerable to predators and unable to migrate. Wildlife rehabilitators sometimes wrap the wing when caught early, but in the wild it's often a life sentence. Cases have been documented in parks across North America, including high-traffic tourist spots where hand-feeding birds is common. The best prevention? Leaving their diet to nature instead of the bread bag. 5. Sea turtles, covered in tumors. On beaches from Florida to Hawaii, rescuers sometimes find sea turtles swimming slowly, their eyes clouded and bodies weighed down by huge cauliflower-like growths. This disease, called fibropapillomatosis, is linked to a herpes virus and is especially common in green sea turtles. The tumors can grow on the eyes, flippers, mouth, and even inside the body, making it hard for turtles to see, swim, or feed. Scientists think polluted warm waters stress the turtles' immune systems, making outbreaks worse. In places like Hawaii, up to 90% of stranded green sea turtles show signs of the disease. Wildlife hospitals perform delicate surgeries to remove the tumors. But the virus can return. Despite the odds, some rehabilitated turtles have been released back into the ocean, becoming living proof that even in nature's harshest moments, survival is possible. 4. Botfly warbles. In the countryside of North and South America, small mammals like rabbits and squirrels sometimes sport strange, round lumps under their skin, and those lumps are alive. Inside is the larva of a botfly, Cuterebra, which starts life when an adult fly lays eggs near the host's nest. The eggs hatch, and the tiny larvae burrow into the animal's skin through hair follicles or small wounds. There, they set up home, growing inside a breathing hole they keep open to the outside world. As the larva grows, the lump, or warble, can reach the size of a marble, visibly moving when the creature shifts. It looks horrifying, but most hosts survive after the larva eventually crawls out to pupate in the soil. Farmers and wildlife rehabbers have been removing botfly larvae for decades, but in the wild, the cycle continues year after year. Humans can get them too, especially in Central and South America, making it a nightmare travelers won't forget. 3. Cactus bugs. In the open ranges of the American West, hunters sometimes come across deer with antlers that look more like a tangled cactus plant than the clean branching racks most people picture. These cactus bucks get their bizarre headgear when a testicle injury, disease, or exposure to epizootic hemorrhagic disease, EHD, disrupts testosterone production. Without the hormone cycle to trigger antler shedding, the velvet covering never falls off, and new growth piles up year after year into knobby, twisted masses. Cactus bucks can live for many seasons with these antlers, but the condition often affects their body size and breeding behavior. Some never mate at all. Trophy hunters sometimes seek them out for the sheer oddity, and photos of record-breaking cactus antlers have appeared in hunting magazines for decades. 2. Ghost moose. In the forests of New Hampshire, Maine, and parts of Canada, some moose have been spotted looking pale, ragged, and thin, earning the haunting nickname ghost moose. The effect comes from an explosion of winter ticks. A single adult moose can carry more than 40,000 ticks at once, each feeding on blood and damaging the skin. As the moose scratches and rubs against trees to remove them, it rips out its own fur, leaving large white patches and exposing raw skin. This isn't just cosmetic. The blood loss alone can be fatal, especially for calves, with some losing over a gallon of blood in one winter. Researchers have linked the rise of ghost moose to climate change. Warmer winters means ticks survive longer, leading to heavier infestations. In New Hampshire, a 2017 study found tick-related deaths in 70% of moose calves that year.
1. Zombie bees. In 2008, researchers in California's San Francisco Bay Area noticed worker bees abandoning their hives at night, flying toward lights and collapsing on the ground. Behavior totally unlike healthy honeybees. The cause turned out to be a parasitic fly, Apocephalus borealis. The female fly injects its eggs into the bee's abdomen. Within days, the infected bee starts acting erratically. It leaves the hive in the dark, flies in circles, and can't find its way home. After the bee dies, tiny white larvae wriggle out of its body to pupate nearby. The phenomenon, dubbed zombie bees, has now been recorded in multiple U.S. states, including Washington, Oregon, and Vermont. Beekeepers worry because this infection can weaken colonies already under pressure from pesticides, mites, and habitat loss. Citizen science projects like Zombie Watch encourage people to collect and test dead bees to track the parasite's spread. And that's it for today. See you at the next one on Forever Green.